Hello. Yes, I'm happy again. And so I think of myself as a robot, an organic robot. And everything I do, every thought I have, every feeling I have, every movement I make comes from the interaction of neurons in my brain. There's nothing else going on. So it's all just an automatic process. That's what I think. And if you don't think that, well, you've been reading different books. I tell you, a very good one is Lisa Feldman Barrett, Seven and a Half Secrets About the Brain. It's an excellent book. It's the best thing I've ever seen, the best explanation of how your fucking brain works, how it makes you. I mean, she doesn't go into the details, and she blows it at the end because she makes this sort of hand waving defense of free will, but it doesn't stand up to a close look. But it's the reason people have such difficulty with the idea of not having free will, the fact that everything is determined from moment to moment to moment. This next word comes out of my mouth, I have no idea. My brain's in charge. I don't know what it's doing. But so that is the reality. But all our lives we have felt, most of us, I think I did, that I was consciously making decisions and that I was somehow making words come out of my mouth. And I was somehow deciding to go to the kitchen and have a cup of coffee. But, that it just doesn't hold up. If you believe that every thought that comes into my mind, brain, is just as determined as a gust of wind blowing the leaves on the trees outside. Which way it blows, how hard it blows, how the leaves move, it's all physics, right? And what goes on in our brains is just all chemistry and physics. So that's who I am, and all that idea of being in charge of my life and doing things, of being me. But there's an element, there's an element of truth in all that, but it doesn't jibe with reality. So how does one happily look at being a robot? That's what I think is so difficult for so many people. They can't imagine. I mean, if you've thought of yourself in one way for your whole life, and now all of a sudden you realize that it was all fucking wrong, and that if you want to be in keeping with the reality of it, you have to revise your whole idea of what it means to be you and who you are, what it means to be a human being. So, I've been struggling with this for decades. It's not easy. It's hard, and there's a lot of, it's a scary idea. It's like I'm going to disappear. I'm going to cease to exist. But what happened to me in the end, and I think it can happen to anybody, is that it's perfectly okay. It has to be okay. It's real. That's the way it is. It's perfectly okay if I'm not really in charge of my life. I mean, the way my brain presents its calculations and its figurings and everything, my thoughts will continue to appear as they usually do. Like I'll have the urge to go to the kitchen and have a snack or whatever, and it'll feel just as normal as it always has. It won't feel any different. As far as really the thought occurring in my brain, the way the thoughts sort of seem to appear to me, and I seem to be thinking about this and that and the other, all that is a beautiful show. And the way the brain has evolved to work is that I can think of myself as the observer of a process that is beyond my comprehension. But I mean, I can see the effects of it. So what it means is that things that I used to take for granted in everyday life all of a sudden become a question. I have a thought about this woman that I used to see. Oh, fuck, how long ago was that? Way long time ago. And this excursion we had. And why did that pop into my head? I have no idea. So I spend my day seeing thoughts appear, memories appear, the outside appears. I look out and I see the world, you know. Perception happens. I walk around and I see things. And we ordinarily just take it for granted. Well, I just, you know, just I was reading a book at work one time. This guy asked me, he says, "What are you reading about?" I said, "How the brain works." He says, "The brain's like a telephone. You don't need to know how it works. You just pick it up and use it." Well, that's how we think about our brains. Most of our lives. It works. You know, just look at these words coming out of my mouth. The brain's doing a wonderful job. So it's really just kind of a shift in point of view. Instead of seeing myself as the initiator of everything, I decided instead of seeing it that way, it's like, what's next? Oh, well, seems like I'm going to do something about that picture over there. That's what that's what seems to be the hot topic of the moment. And I don't know why, but you know, so that's the way my day goes. As I walk around doing the things that I ordinarily do, I don't think of it as I am doing these. Well, you know, most of the time I take it for granted. I don't really think about it. It's not. But if I do stop for a moment to think about it, and really in the back of my mind, sort of, there's this question of who am I? And so as I walk around all day, I just wonder at the things my brain does, at the conclusions that it comes to. And sometimes I get to see the process, you know. I mean, what it is the brain's trying out different alternatives, or you know, different networks are, the balance between them is shifting as they stimulate each other. So that's what my thoughts are as I'm thinking about, well, should I do this or should I do that? It's just the networks operating up there. So it makes life much more interesting to me. And it shifts the burden, you know, whereas maybe before I felt like it was up to me to decide to do this or that, the other thing. Now I feel more like a decision is going to happen. And I'm not going to understand it, why it came up, but it's going to happen. And it'll seem like the right thing to do because my brain will have figured that's the right thing to do. But it's is so much more relaxed and so much more entertaining, I think. The entertainment value is huge. If you if you watch yourself, if you watch your brain works, you know the fucker is not perfect. And if you go to any place online, just look for illusions. There's audible illusions and there's visual illusions, and it just shows the shortcomings of the brain's operating system. Well, those shortcomings, they occur in daily life all the time. You know, my brain's always fucking up. It's like, okay, start out to make a cup of coffee. Well, there's a logical sequence of how you put the parts together, you know. But sometimes I'll be thinking about something else. My brain will be thinking about something else. And it will fuck up the order so that all of a sudden I've got hot water in my hand and there's nothing in the cup. And there should be, right? So it's like, the thing is, what I thought was this scary thing. I'm a fucking robot. I'm not in control. It's not a scary thing. It's the way your fucking life has been the whole time you've been alive. Because this is not something that happened just recently. It happened when you were born. Your brain's looking around and saying, where the fuck am I? And who's paying for lunch? Anyway, and that's how your life goes. So, if you don't see the humor of it, you know, to me it's humorous that we've entertained these ideas about ourselves that are totally wrong. I mean, you know, it's nobody's fault. That entertaining those thoughts and those ideas is just as determined as everything else. And whether you will find what I'm saying interesting or total rubbish is just as determined as everything else in the world. So I won't take it personally. You can hate my guts. It's okay. I don't mind. Because I know that it's just your life playing itself out moment by moment. And it's my life playing itself out moment by moment. And hopefully the way those things play out will never collide. And we will never find ourselves, you know, in conflict over anything. I mean, I think that's the ideal. That's the way it should be. Anyway. Okay, this robot, I think, this robot has decided that it's said enough, and it has a tendency to talk too long anyway. So I'm going to stop. And I hope you, all my fellow robots, have a wonderful day. And if it hasn't occurred to you before that you are a robot, look around. It's a wonderful world you're living in, and you're so sensitive. You can see all this beauty. Isn't it wonderful? Anyway, bye.